There's the music. It's 5 o'clock. I will call the Public Works meeting to order. We'll start off with the roll call. Alderperson Bellinger. Here. Alderperson Peterson. Here. Alderperson Ramey. Here. And Alderperson Rust is excused. Alderperson Decker is here. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. If it's okay with the guests, I think they pretty much know our staff, so if we could skip over number 4, I think that would be okay. We'll go on to number 5, approval of minutes from the March 11th, 2025. Any discussion on those?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Any
opposed? Chair votes aye. Those are approved. Number 6, resolution number 187-2425, a resolution authorizing the creation of a City of Sheboygan Street Art Grant Program, authorizing the appropriate city officials to apply for state, federal, and private street art grants, and authorizing the creation of the City of Sheboygan Street Art Grant Program. Who's taking this one? Let me get you on. I can get you, I think that's...
Please just turn it on.
Okay. So that's it? Yep, we got it.
Working?
Yep.
Hi there, my name is Assistant City Attorney Audrey Kratz. I'm sort of here to speak on this creation of a grant program. We're not actually implementing a grant program yet. This is just authorizing the city to apply for grants that the city may have to match or not be covered fully by the grant program itself, and then authorizing a program to be created, framework for such a program.
Oh, thank you, Audrey. I guess a couple quick questions. We have done some street art in the past, I believe. So was that just through different things? Kevin, do you know that? Or
I can speak to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the street art program, the Sheboygan Project, as it was called, with all the different street art murals around, was facilitated through the John Michael Kohler Art Center in partnership with the city. So I know the Art Center and the city worked closely together on that. So that wasn't necessarily a grant. The Art Center secured the artists and did all of the work, if you will.
Okay. Anyone else have questions?
No, I just think go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm in favor of this. I think it would be fantastic. So I don't have an issue with that. My question is, why do we have to have this come before the Public Works Committee for them to apply for grants? Wouldn't these departments, or if we're going to apply for grants and on their own, and if they get them, that's fantastic, and then we're made aware of it, and at that point in time,
I think it's because of the way technically the programs may work, in that the city may have to match funds. And in order for the city to be able to match funds, I think depending on how big they are, they may have to go through like council or be in an actual ordinance or something that way.
Okay.
If I answered your question, I'm not sure I did.
And I would also think that the reason that you would want to do this is just to gauge the council's acceptance of a program before our staff goes through the work of doing something. They would want to know, hey, is the council even going to approve this if all of a sudden we come along and say, no, we don't really, why did you apply for that grant? So I guess this is their way of asking us beforehand to make sure that we're doing that. So, okay, Dan.
Yeah, and I support this as well. I know the Sheboygan visual artists are interested in this. I think John Michael Kohler Art Center has also kind of voiced some interest in this. I don't see any downside really to this as well. So,
okay, go ahead.
And I will piggyback on that as well, and I'm in complete support. I do think that some of this exploration of doing art in the city was maybe prompted by a request from the Art Center to have artwork on display in City Hall. And this really brought to light that we don't necessarily have a system in place for when those requests in public buildings and city buildings come through. So that's, I think, another reason why this came up. So I think it's a really great idea, and yeah, like a checks and balances kind of thing.
Okay. Well, thank you. I also fully support this. I think this would be great. And like I said, and a little bit of artwork in City Hall, it could use some.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess before we have a motion, well, we have an audience member who would like to speak. Go ahead, Brian. Got the right one. Let me figure out the right one. Do I have you? No? Let's see. Hang on 1 second. There we go. I'm still learning.
Yeah, so I've been following Sheboygan crash data, stuff like that. I also read through, there was a study, I think, with the, when this came through Common Council, I read through that. So just some stats just to inform you more about sort of this grant and why I think it's great. So in Sheboygan County, most pedestrian accidents, like by a lot, are happening when a pedestrian is within a marked crosswalk. The study that was given to council was saying that this program where, you know, we're putting street art, there's a couple different ways it could be implemented. One of the highlighted ways was putting art in a crosswalk. It was showing that that was reducing the amount of pedestrians getting hit in those crosswalks. People were respecting the crosswalk more when it was more visually attractive. So I think that this is great. I would love if we actually get these grants. If there are funds to match, I would highly recommend doing that because it's directly addressing the #1 problem with pedestrian safety here in Sheboygan. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I would be looking then for a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. That is approved. Thank you very much. Number 7, a resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to enter into a lease with Bell Bank for the lease of a 2025 Vector sewer maintenance vehicle. Bernie, is that are you or is that Joel?
Good afternoon. So what this is a entering into really it's a continuation lease, but it's a 5-year operating lease for a piece of equipment known as a Vector. We have, this will be the 3rd such lease of this size of truck piece of equipment. We learned several years ago, it was found that we needed one of these trucks, and the decision was made by council to enter into a 5-year lease rather than purchase a truck. The trucks are very large. You may have seen them around town. They do many things. They're a vacuum truck, they're a jetter truck, they're a camera truck. They can hydro excavate all in one package. Prior to leasing these, we had no less than probably 3 different trucks that would ultimately respond to a sewer blockage or a sewer problem. We found that having this truck, it allows the Department of Public Works to respond to an emergency, and they have everything they need right there on the truck, rather than having to dispatch another truck out. So from that standpoint, it's been a very good program. Why do we lease rather than buy? Realistically, it's a situation where when that truck needs to respond, it needs to be ready to go. And if we purchase a truck, there's a very good possibility that as the truck ages, components are going to age, systems are going to age, and we could have a potential of having a breakdown at the worst possible time. What this truck, the leasing program allows is we've really found that in the first 5 years, very little happens to the systems and whatnot, and they remain at a state of readiness at all times. Again, as I said, this is the the third such lease of that particular vehicle, and it's worked out very well for the city. Essentially, it's a 5-year operating lease, payments of $107,510 a year, and then at the end of the lease, essentially what happens is we turn the truck in. That residual value of the current truck is built into the numbers here. A truck of that size today has a quote-unquote sticker price somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $650,000. Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So, City Attorney's Office has reviewed the lease, and they've seen them before, and they've worked on them before, and has basically signed off on the lease document itself as being, in order and ready to go.
Thank you, Bernie. I think I was on Public Works when you did the second lease 5 years ago. When we did this again, we did the lease, and I remember that whole thing. And I agree that this is a piece of equipment that we really can't be without. I mean, it's a critical piece, and to keep it in a new state, you can, with an older plow truck or something like that, we can live with sometimes with that because we've got more plow trucks. We can always, it may put us at a disadvantage a little bit sometimes, but this is something that we can't be without. I mean, we have a sewer backup. It's critical.
You're absolutely correct. As I said this each and every time we've gone before council for one of these leases for this piece of equipment. When that truck is dispatched, very bad things are happening and getting worse by the minute very quickly. So the quicker they can respond, determine the problem, get it taken care of, it's going to be better off for everybody, including, especially the citizens, because they're impacted with things coming back into their home that
which they don't want. I totally agree, and I think that I like the fact that this is something that's it's more efficient too, because of the fact you said it's a lot more efficient. It probably even takes less manpower to run it because you don't have to have 3 different guys running 3 different things. So I think this is a really good thing. So I'll open it up to any other else questions or.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. That's approved. Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you very much.
We'll go right on to number 8. Resolution number 189-2425, a resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the agreement between the City of Sheboygan and Hardesty and Hanover LLC regarding the inspection of the South 8th Street Bridge. Kevin.
So every 2 years, the city is required by the state to inspect our bridges. This year, we have to do our 8th Street movable bridge. So we went out for requests for proposals and qualifications, and we chose H&H, well-respected company to do the work. What this is really in front of you for tonight is to accept the revised standard terms and conditions that H&H has asked for. It's not. I don't believe it's in the ordinance or in the resolution, but if you read my, can't talk tonight. If you read my memo, there's a slight variation of about 4 words that H&H has asked for. The attorney's office doesn't really feel it's a problem. We're still being protected by other clauses in the contract.
Okay.
But that's really why this is before you.
Okay. Yeah. I guess my one question I guess that I have is so all of our bridges need to be inspected every 2 years, or just 8th Street because it's the movable?
8th Street is this year.
Okay.
Next year we'll do all the non-movable bridges.
Also, all the other ones are on a different cycle. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Questions? concerns?
I guess I just had one question. I read the amendment, and I'm having a hard time not understanding it. To me, it's the same thing, so I don't understand. I mean, they're moving negligent to the beginning of the word act. Does it matter? I mean, is there any downside to this legally?
Do we got that? Do we get the right one? Maybe like, hang on there. That one, test, no. Yay. Do we got you?
Working now? Great.
There we go.
I can answer that. It may seem like a very minor change. I think it is. Saying any act, I'm going to read it out loud. Right now, or before the change was there, it would have said of any act, omission, fault, or negligence. That would mean anything that the city did, absolutely any act that the city did, they could not be held accountable for or harmful for. Now that it's changed to any negligent act, omission, or fault, it means that there potentially is an act that maybe the city could be held harmful for. That being said, as I'm looking at the indemnification clause, it's about 2 sentences long, but that being said, it's about 12 lines tall. So there is a lot of language in there that is specifically holding the city harmless in other ways. So I spoke with about this with Deputy City Attorney Majerus. She read it separately, and then I read it separately without talking to each other, and we sort of had the same understanding afterwards that it's an extremely minor change. The city is still very well protected, but if this is what H&H would like, if this is what's going to happen, the city's okay with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Alrighty.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. That is approved. Alrighty. Next meeting date is April 8th, 2025. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.